The arts are alive. This lesson is all about using different forms of linear equations strategically for real life applications. Let's see how it connects to STAR. So with 8.2 with 8.2c, where students are writing equations from multiple representations, here's an example of how we would go from a verbal context to an equation. And then here's an example of writing an equation in point slope form when given a graph. And that's a skill we've been working on for a few days now. Now looking at 8.2b, here's a problem where students are given a point and a slope, and instead of writing the equation in point slope form, they write it in standard form, which is another skill we're introducing today as well. So let's go back to the top of the lesson. The lesson will begin with our objective and our success criteria. Our process standard is to use math in real life. There is a warm-up here that is a STAR warm-up. I've replaced the Carnegie warm-up with an example from STAR. And then as we move on through the lesson, it's basically just what you'll find in the book. However, I have added sentence stems. I've added some illustrations with color coding to sort of bring the text alive and make it a little bit more accessible for the kids. And there are checks for understanding like this to 5 embedded directly within the presentation. One pattern you'll notice is that this lesson is going to go from contexts. So here we have a context where Douglas is giving away tickets to non-contextual examples like this one right here. So we're moving from math within context to non-contextual practice, and that's a theme you'll see throughout this lesson. So day 2 begins with the same objective and some similar but slightly different success criteria. We have a context here that's just perfect for point slope form. We have a point here. After selling 3 tickets, the band has $50 in their account, and we can figure out the slope. And that's the process that the students are guided through on this slide with these instructions. After that, we move to some non-contextual practice. And then our next example, or our next example rather, has a perfect application of standard form. So here we have tickets for the school play. Student tickets are $5, adult tickets are $8. This is a perfect time to use our standard form of a linear equation. And so students see the benefits of that and get an idea for when that's useful. Once we've worked with that context, we're going to move to some non-contextual practice with tables and with graphs, comparing different types of equations. There's a check for understanding before we have just more practice manipulating equations and using them to find the slope and the y-intercept of a function. For our talk the talk, students get to choose which equation they want to use, which form of a linear equation they want, whether it's slope, intercept, point, slope, or standard form, and they must justify their choice. Before closing out the lesson today, they get to evaluate their understanding of the success criteria.